Have you ever experienced a physical symptom that seemed to have no clear medical cause? This content is for educational and inspirational only. Welcome back to Shantyprint Legacy, where we breathe peace into mental health, faith, and healing. Barnaby was a sturdy chief architect of dams and lodges in the snaky river that flowed over the ancient forest. His days were a rhythmic ballet of gnawing wood, dragging branches, and patching leaks, his broad tail slapping the water with quiet satisfaction. Years ago, he was at the peak of his building prowess, his dams admired by all the forest creatures. Yet, for the past year, he'd been battling a relentless, inexplicable tremor in his left paw, especially when he tried to grip a heavy branch. It wasn't the kind that came from overexertion. It was a deep, persistent trembling that no amount of rest or salves from the wise old badger seemed to touch. He'd wake up stiff, his paw aching, and by the end of a day's work, it felt like it was constantly vibrating with a hidden energy. Badge the physician, after much examination, found no visible injury, diagnosing it vaguely as unsettled nerves. He suggested more rest, which offered temporary relief, but the tremor always returned, a constant, unwelcome companion. Barnaby grew frustrated, his usual calm demeanor slowly eroding. He attributed it to getting older, to the dampness of the river, to anything but the truth that lay buried deeper. The truth was, Barnaby had witnessed a terrifying flood years ago, a sudden, violent surge of water that had torn apart the very first dam he had ever built, nearly sweeping away his younger siblings. He had tried to hold the structure together, his young paws straining, but the force was too great. He hadn't been physically harmed by the water, but the shock had rooted itself deep within him. He had moved on, he thought, burying the memory under layers of new, stronger dams. But his body, it seemed, had not forgotten. It was a quiet, observant named Finn, who often fished near Barnaby's dam, who suggested he look into body wisdom. Barnaby, a creature of logic and practical construction, was skeptical. How could feelings cause his paw to tremble? But desperate for relief, he decided to listen. In his first quiet conversation with Finn, Finn didn't ask about his paw directly. Instead, he asked Barnaby to describe the sensation of it, to notice where he felt tension, where he felt numbness in his body. As Barnaby spoke, he felt a strange internal buzzing begin in his chest, then travel down his left flank, mirroring the tremor. Finn gently encouraged him to simply notice it, without trying to stop it. Our bodies remember, Finn explained softly. Trauma isn't just a memory, it's stored energy in the nervous system. Sometimes, physical symptoms are simply cries for emotional healing. The body's way of telling us something is unresolved. Barnaby's profound realization. His unrelenting paw tremor wasn't a physical defect, it was his body's unspoken language, a constant reminder of the terror and helplessness he'd felt during that devastating flood. He learned that trauma could be trapped in the body, residing in the very muscles that had once strained against the inevitable. His gentle sessions with Finn weren't about talking through the flood endlessly. They were about connecting with his body's sensations. He learned gentle movement, starting with simple stretches of his limbs and conscious shifts in his posture that felt less like building and more like flowing. He'd find quiet moments along the riverbank, taking mindful walks, feeling the soft earth beneath his webbed feet, noticing the sway of the reeds, the subtle shift of the river's current. Acts of sensory grounding that brought him back to the present. Breathwork became a powerful tool. Finn taught him how shallow, hurried breaths held tension and how deep intentional breaths could create space and calm. Barnaby also practiced belly breathing even while gnawing on a branch, a small secret act of self-regulation. He was introduced to body-scanning meditations, lying still on a sun-warmed rock and systematically bringing awareness to different parts of his body, noticing sensations without judgment. During one meditation, he focused on his left paw. A vivid image of surging floodwaters flashed through his mind, followed by a surge of fear, and a sudden, involuntary shudder shook his whole body. Finn calmly guided him, helping him stay with the sensation, allowing his body to naturally release the stored energy. It felt strange, like an internal tremor, but intensely relieving. It was working with Finn to safely process bodily sensations without overwhelming himself. Slowly, painstakingly, Barnaby's paw tremor began to recede. It wasn't a miracle cure, but a gradual untangling. He learned to listen to his body, not as a source of frustration, but as a wise messenger. The internal buzzing would still appear sometimes, but now he understood it, allowing the subtle shifts to pass through him rather than bracing against them. His recovery focus became re-establishing a safe and integrated relationship with his own body. He no longer felt like his mind and body were separate entities, battling each other. Instead, they were partners, communicating in a nuanced language. He resumed his passion for building with a renewed sense of presence, his movements more fluid, his energy lighter. The invisible weight he had carried for so long was finally lifting. Barnaby's dams still stood strong, a testament to his skill. But now, Barnaby who built them stood taller, no longer carrying the invisible burden of the past in his very bones. He learned that true healing meant not just remembering, but allowing the body to finally release what the mind had tried to forget, leading to a profound sense of both physical and emotional well-being. He was in sync with the river's flow, both outside and within. Have you ever experienced a physical symptom that seemed to have no clear medical cause, and later realized it might be connected to stress or emotions? Share your experience at Shanty Print Legacy. We bring peace into mental health, faith, and healing.